Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. And I tell you what, I am still fired up, Ken.
You should be.
Man, I didn't get to bed till 1:30 this morning.
Oh yeah, listen. I woke
I didn't
up.
get to bed till 1:30 this morning, and I had CrossFit this morning, and even I hit that second wind, and man, I was fired up during the second half of CrossFit. Boy, man, I'm telling you, I'm loving it. I'm feeling an 80-degree day today. I'm gonna crash right after the show.
You deserve it. You deserve it. We all deserve this one. We deserve this one right here, man. Especially Sunday, we deserve this one.
Yeah, it was good. I want to bring out our next guest, and man, he likes to keep it 100. That's just like his show on the Tape Never Lies network. Just keeping it 100. Man, we got to bring him out. He is a draft doctor, Dr. Phil Ottochian. Phil, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, boys? How you feeling to Victory Friday? How good is that?
It feels great.
Speaking of CrossFit, Shawn, how about Khalil Mack throwing the heavy bags, flipping them over? I mean, you talk about things happening last night on the national stage. The GOAT comes to town. Jimmy Graham with one of the best catches I've seen a Chicago Bear make in a big-time moment. And then the Khalil Mack show, shouting. And what does he do? He shuts down all the haters. Shut down all the hater dance. That's what I love about this team. I was listening to Kenneth Davis. I don't know if he's the former Bills running back or if he's coming out here. He was running here. You got to be excited. It's not perfect. It's not pretty. But 4-1 is 4-1. The national media and the local Chicago media they're going to nitpick. They're going to find, they're going to take a COVID test and they're going to take 7 of them just to make sure. That's how they deal with the Bears. That's what we don't do. Talking with my boy Sean Sierra. Just great conversation. This is about football. What's the baseline of football, Kenneth? It's blocking and tackling. At the end of the day, who makes the most plays? Coach Nagy has his warts. But listen, you came out with the victory. I got a lot of questions. Obviously, we're going to get into it, but I got to bring the hype here. First time ever.
I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about this. Let's start with football. Let's start with the offensive line. Without that, we don't go. You know what, Eddie? Goldman.
James Daniels.
James Daniels. There you go. I'm thinking Goldman.
I knew what you were thinking.
James Daniels. You read my mind. So James Daniels goes out with a pec injury, and in comes Alex Bars, and they're talking about him like he should have been playing. He's got this anger streak, and he's just nasty. And I'm like, okay, great. And then the first play, he gives up a sack, but then you didn't hear his name the rest of the game,
which is good.
That's what I said last night on my show. The first play, second play, he does the walrus technique. And that's where I used to coach offensive line. And that's when you're trying to chop block on an outside zone or a boot action. And you fall to the ground away from contact. You just become a speed bump. The defensive lineman runs right over you and makes the play. You got to maintain contact. Bars started off shaky, like you said, Sean. Then you don't hear his name. That offensive linemen don't want to hear their names. I'm concerned. I've been concerned. I break down the tape on the Tape Never Lies network. If you haven't seen my breakdowns of focused football analysis on the offensive line every week, I'm bagging on Charles Leno because Charles Leno's taking his money to the bank without playing with fundamentals and toughness. It's scary what you see from this football player. He's the big concern. James Daniels, to me, was sky rising. He was becoming the Sears. He was your best offensive line through the first 3 games, and now you lose that kind of attitude, aggressiveness, and athleticism. It's a concern. But like you said, Bars, we've not seen these guys. We haven't seen Bars. We saw Rashad Coward at guard. I think he's a tackle, playing out of position, former defensive lineman. And then you got Spriggs in there, and something's got to be done with Leno. He's stealing money at this point. He almost cost you the game. If that roughing the passer call didn't get called, you're punting there. Points are changed. You know the game, guys. Every possession, every play has to matter. You see what's going on in Dallas where safeties are like, people are questioning, you're going to question my effort? I'm getting paid. This can't be what the culture is in Chicago, and that brings me to the concerns with Nagy holding Mitch accountable, but not others. However, we did see Anthony Miller less after his continued drops and everything like that. But I know I'm jumping around. Stay on the offensive line. Barr's going in there. He's going to be somebody I'm going to focus on the tape because it doesn't lie. You got Kenneth, did you play ball?
Yes, I did.
So you know, the tape never lies. The coach gets you up on the board and puts you in front of the peers. And that's like where that. you know your effort better. If the sky in the eye is watching, your effort. I know, Shawn, you played at Holy Cross. This is what it's about. The game of football is about the technical points of effort through fundamental, especially up there. And really, you're struggling in the run game because of the offensive line. You're struggling with the run game because of the head coach not committing. They haven't found their identity yet. There's so many questions there, but the loss of James Daniels is a big one, as big, in my opinion, as who you said, Freudian slipping, if we were going to use that, with Eddie Goldman. I thought him not playing has really been a huge, but the Bears defense, I mean, they have stepped it up. I mean, you can't even begin to say anything.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a second. Yeah. But so let's take a step back a little bit from behind the offensive line and go right to the running backs. I'm a big, I love watching the running backs, and I got a man crush on Montgomery. I love this guy. I just wish that there were times he stopped getting hit in the backfield because this guy is just he's a stud. He's not flashy. He's not a first round pick. He's not this guy. What it is, he's productive. He is productive. He's one of those guys. He's all reliable. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And when you have a running back, if you don't have a superstar running back, then you need a Mr. Reliable, someone that you can always count on. Talk to me about him yesterday. His running between the tackles, but also that key bailout by Nick Foles, where he gained like 847 yards on that one. Oh, it was phenomenal.
Great throw. Let me say this about David Montgomery. He was my number one back coming out of that draft. He is a physical freak of balance and instincts. This guy could bring a level of toughness and understanding where the holes are. Shawn, you hit it right out of the park. This guy's not even getting things blocked appropriately. I put this up every week on the Tape Never Lies. They're missing cutoffs. The center on a zone play is getting pushed in the backfield. That's the most important block in a zone scheme. That center's got to get that nose. You can't have the line of scrimmage coming backwards and try to run zone or power game. You have to get off the football, and David has not got that, and he's not had a coach committed to it. This guy's still, quote, ringing in my ears, Shawn. I didn't come here to run the I formation. No, you didn't. You came here to run a successful offense. You do what your players do well. Last time I checked, the I formation in Matt Nagy's offense is the most successful part of your running game. And David Montgomery is the most... I've said it on my show. I'm keeping it 100. I said it on our post-game show, Bears Hour Live, after every Bears game on the Tape Never Lies Network. Self-plugging. David Montgomery, to me, is the number one offensive weapon in this thing. Look at him on the football field in the passing game. The last 2 weeks, he's helping you continue drives in those little flare routes. His eyes are on the football. How big, Shawn, was that play, Nick Foles, on the wheel route, and he's waiting with eyes on ball. When have we seen that? Neil Anderson the last time? Maybe Matt Forte. Matt Forte. But this kid's so much more dynamic and physical than Matt Forte ever was. He's more instant. He's not getting blocks. He's putting his face into nosemen, spinning out. That run on the draw, the delay that's not blocked up, and he finds the back door and breaks it for 7. And the very next play, we take a sack. Oh, by the way, Leno. That was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. But anyway, David Montgomery, I'm with you. I have a huge man crush on what I see on the tape. It's not blocked right. PFF, all those guys are going to score him negative. They're going to talk about him negative. They have no running game. It's David Montgomery. I saw some Twitter GM, Twitter football analyst. He doesn't know. He's out there promoting for thousands of people. I called him out on my show. He can come on my show. I'll tell him to his face. You can't put a play from 2017 or 18 with Jordan Howard running outside zone and then compare it to this team running outside zone when the center's getting blown into the backfield and say it's David Montgomery. That's writing a narrative, Shawn. You and I are against that. You love this kid. I see the talent. Kenneth, David Montgomery to me is something you build on. He needs to be in the backfield all the time. I used to get pissed. It's inside the red zone. You're inside the 10 and you got Tariq Cohen in there.
Yeah,
that's coaching to me. How? This guy's not, he's a tackle breaker, a balance. His balance within contact is Khalil Mack-like. It's so impressive. And I think a lot of fans don't get to see it unless they watch the tape. That's why I get so hyped up about this kid.
Phil, let me ask you this. I want to get back to the offensive line. And you mentioned that Cody Whitehair getting blown up.
Yes.
But what are your grades on Cody Whitehair, Ifedi, and Bobby Massey? And what's the difference when watching the tape between how the offensive line was getting coached last year by Eric Easted and how they're getting coached this season?
That's a great question. I look at Ifedi. The first two games, Ifedi was a difference maker. Physically, square shoulders, flat back, driving into people. Teams are playing different fronts, obviously. Ifedi getting to the second level in the first couple games, there's no commitment to the run game. So the formational stuff is affecting, as well as putting Cordarrelle Patterson in there. So you're not getting a rhythm. Those guys were firing out. Again, last week, though, against the Colts, Ifedi, Whitehair. Against the Giants, Whitehair was getting held. They had a whole philosophy of what they were going to do, and thus Whitehair's performance was really good in that game. Then last week, Whitehair got destroyed. All of them did by Buckner, even Daniels. So they were up and down. He was phenomenal. That was an A+ dominant game. He single-handedly helped win that game and frustrated your passing and running game. When you watch it on the tape, I mean, that's a Pro Bowl, all-pro football player in Buckner over the Colts. But that being said, back to your question, Bobby Massey, he's up and down, but he's not terrible. He's average. So you're looking at a C+ for Bobby Massey. Last night, obviously, I haven't gotten to see the tape. Inside, you can't struggle with these fronts and miss these assignments. And you saw that happening. Last night, I thought Massey struggled big time, maybe a D last night, based on just looking at it. The F is continuously Leno. The center has been, no, it's serious. I'm serious. He's not even average. If Leno was on the show right now, I'd tell him right to his face, you cannot. I had an offensive line coach call me this morning. I don't even know how you're winning. How did they put that guy on the field and allow that and watch the tape and say this is okay to the rest of the 53 that are there? He's like, and this is a prominent offensive line coach. You couldn't, that is strictly politics. Ryan Pace and company putting someone they paid big money of an extension to. The guy got paid and didn't work on his body. He is not strong. He is not technique savvy. So F for him. I would give James Daniels a B+. Now you got the center. He's been B. Last night, obviously, he was getting beat up, but his pass protection has been okay. Maybe we'll give him a B-, Kenneth.
Okay.
Cody Whitehair. The interior, though, getting one other point to your question. Juan Castillo has brought that stretch zone philosophy where they're going and they're cut blocking and they're trying to do, you've seen it all the time with the Houston teams and the Denver Bronco teams.
Exactly.
Shanahan type of philosophy. That's why I don't understand really why they don't go more 2 tight ends and get that front even and establish that run game, because you think about last night's game, they went action so many times, but they're not running the football for action to
Who's
even
going to
take
fight on the
place.
flank?
Exactly. So think about what your offense would be if you start establishing the run and getting in those personnel packages, those 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, where you got these guys that you drafted high in Kmet, you got Jimmy Graham, you got Demetrius Harris, who's been tremendous, you got Cole Kmet, who physically and blocking has been tremendous. Now you got to put it all together. So, and one other thing on the offensive line, and then I'll be done. I don't want to forget this point. I said it all night. If you're a head coach and you have that kind of tackle, Charles Leno, playing so poorly in critical situations, how are you not giving him help, Shawn?
Right.
How are you not lining the tight? What did Tampa do? They put Gronk there at the whole fourth quarter, chipping on Khalil Mack, making sure you were going to protect your quarterback. Matt Nagy's going empty set. We're down here, needing to go. He's lucky that roughing call was called, or this whole story would be so different. That's why I love football, though. Hey, he won the game. I would have had a chip there every time to help this guy out, because he was getting killed. He was getting murdered.
Just so you know, you got 2 people. Just so you know, you ain't coming free.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give that guy a little help. Yep.
Exactly. Give him a little help. Maybe we're gonna see that this next game. Hopefully we do.
Guys, we're joined by the draft Dr. Phil Ottochian from the Tape Never Lies Network, talking a little Chicago Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. So let's talk about the low-hanging fruit, and that's Nick Foles. Nick Foles looked he had quite a few Mitch Trubisky throws yesterday, and I was screaming on top of my lungs. And then he says, "Oh, okay, I'm just playing. I'm playing. Here's who I really am." And he came down and he led this team in a way. I was telling Ivan in our first segment that I felt comfortable when he came in relief 2 games ago. I felt comfortable. I didn't know if they were going to win or not, but I felt comfortable. First week, and last week I didn't feel that comfort. This week, or I shouldn't say last week, Sunday, and then yesterday.
It's a double week.
I wasn't as comfortable. I was feeling what I felt, his first full game, and I'm like, man, why am I feeling like this? But the second half, he came and he came out and he put me at ease. He put a lot of Bears fans at ease. Why do you think it took him so long to kind of get on track? Because he's missed Allen Robinson on an early play for a third down that would have been a first down. He missed Darnell Mooney, which would have been a touchdown.
Why talk about the Mooney? I talked about the Mooney play last night. I thought it was on Foles when I first saw it. However, when they gave me the coach's angle, when you get to the stem of a route, when you're running a flag route, for example, and you get to the stem, I was a former receiver at Hofstra University. We always were taught this. Every coach I've ever known, I'm sure Mike Fury is pissed off. What happened is Nick is feeling the pressure. He knows the route on this Mooney play we're talking about. The touchdown. It definitely would have been a touchdown.
Yep.
What Mooney does, he gets out of the break. He does not snap his head and look for the football. You know that you're anticipating a ball being thrown at that. Rookie mistake. If you watch it, I'll put it up on the Tape Never Lies. I've already promised all the fans that I will do this to show you. Nick's actually throwing. So, Shawn, he's throwing to a spot. You know that ball could be 8 yards over there. For the nerd that's blogging and writing a story, now, Foles missed it. But for me, I know that any athlete that's running 4.39 can then gather himself and track the ball with your eyes and get to that football. He comes out of the break and he runs, and you watch him. He stumbles for a second. Then he turns his head and the ball is supposed to be where it is. He would have been able to reach over. So I'm giving Nick the benefit there, especially with the protection and everything like that. The rookie's got to get his head around quicker. I'm sure you're going to hear that later. Nick, probably the professional that he is, he'll take the blame like he did the week before with Anthony Miller, when Miller should have caught that ball that was tipped up. But that's
I didn't mean to throw it right at his hands. It was my mistake. That was on me.
Exactly. The other one to start the game on the dash pass to Allen Robinson, he said it himself afterwards, and I give him credit. I can't believe I missed that. It just came out of my hand wrong. The one to Allen Robinson, I've watched now 17 times, and I know that exact number. You got to be proud of me. 17. What was that? Dave Craig wore that number for the Bears. Dave Craig.
Small hands.
Small hands, many fumbles. Dave
Exactly.
Craig. He comes out and throws that back shoulder ball, and the defensive back reaches and rips his arm across, getting there early. It should have been a flag all day, every day. It wasn't called. The turnover becomes the thing. The Tom Brady umbrella continues to be what it is because, it's just the turn. No, that was interference all day. We put it up on the big screen last night, Shawn. There's a still image. The ball's not even there. The DB has his whole arm across the whole, like this, holding across. How are you going to catch? And then his hands are coming up. He jumps. I don't know why he jumps. If he would just stop, come back to the football, he gets the call and the catch there. So, but getting back to Foles. I got to say this. I talked to my dad this morning, Hall of Fame coach here, high school football coach here in Connecticut. He keeps it 100. He's Italian. He ain't going to play it from Brooklyn, New York. Let me tell you, that guy Foles last night was taking some shots, and he's standing in there, and he's telling every one of those players on his team that I'm here to win. I'm going to put this on my shoulder. And you can't ask for... You felt comfortable. I felt comfortable. I felt like he was making every decision and putting the ball... Listen, we've all seen Brett Favre for years come out first, and he's throwing freaking way over the head of this one, wide open, misses, and then all of a sudden, what happens? You get into that zone.
Especially against Bears.
Don't remind me of that. He gets into his zone, and he was dealing and putting the... I mean, that ball to Jimmy Graham for the touchdown before the half, I mean, come on. And then, to Kenneth's point, what does Nick Foles also do? He holds the quarterback, the coach accountable. I want to go no huddle, coach, is what he's saying. We had the feeling there. I had him in the covers that I wanted. Why are you stopping me? And he's pushing back to a coach that's learning on the job.
Right.
Too focused on play calls, not enough focus on situations. Oh, I was so... That moment right there. I called this game the crossroad games. The crossroad game. How big was it? Tom Brady comes to your house. You beat him. You're 4-1. You think... We've all been in the locker room. You think that confidence sauce is not cooking with the onions and the garlic and the olive oil and everyone's smelling it in the fucking locker room? Part of my life. Everyone's smelling it in the locker room. I'm so excited because this is where you build confidence and hopefully it extends into the next game. In the past, we haven't seen it, but my feeling is Nick Foles is making the sauce. That's what I feel. His confidence is your confidence, Shawn, is your confidence, Kenneth. There's a chance. And Foles, listen, the Bears have never beaten Tom Brady.
Nope.
Till last night.
Yep.
Till last night. You got to give it to him. You could be a Mitch lover and supporter. I always say this on my show, guys. I cheer for the jersey. Whoever's out there is my guy. So I have to analyze him like Shawn would and Kenneth would with the tape and appropriately. There's no bias here. If Mitch was out there, it would be analyzing him. But Nick, he did what you needed him to do.
He did, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't flashy. What it was effective. And that's what we need. We don't need anything flashy because we're Chicago. We don't need all the flash. We don't need the bright lights and all the 750 yards passing and everything. But we need someone to get the job done. And he got
flashy,
the job done.
Right? He was flashy in Atlanta, right? To bring you back. There's just like you said, whatever happens in a game, you need consistency. I felt like the quarterback really delivered, especially, and I don't think it should be overlooked. he's not the athlete that Mitch Trubisky is.
It's not.
So he's in the pocket and he's taking shots for your team. And Leno is picking him up off the ground. But really, when they're picking him off the ground, there's completions down the football field. And that really is the difference.
Hey, Phil, we're going to go to the other side of the ball. And we got to let you go soon, but I got to go to the other side of the ball.
I know I can talk.
Talk to me about this hit. Talk to me about the Kyle Fuller hit, because I was
turning point in the game.
I jumped up and screamed because, first of all, this is not allowed in the NFL anymore. Like, oh my God, he hit him really hard. He might hurt himself. Guess what? That's football. Football is not a contact sport. It's a collision sport.
Yes.
Okay. And that was very reminiscent. And Kyle Fuller did it perfectly. Because, back in the old days, Ryan Lott would have just went at your head and knocked you out and you're done. Okay.
Exactly.
Which I would have loved personally, but, that's just me being as old as I am. But you know what? With the new rules and them trying to protect the superstars and the defenseless receiver, look, don't even get me started on that. You know what the hell you're signing up for when you play football. You can go a little loopy after 10,000 hits in your career. Okay,
exactly.
But anyway, I digress. He hit him perfectly with his shoulder. Head wasn't even there. Smack dab in my man's chest.
Oh.
Dislodged the ball, picks it. Robert Quinn with the fumble recovery. Talk to me on how that was a game changer, because I think that along with Tom Brady shit talking to Mac, those were the two bad things that happened to the Bucs.
Yeah, great point on the Mac and Brady relationship, but that was the turning point of the game. In every game, good old momentum comes, and how you do it in a team sport is make a big play for your team. Kyle Fuller is a top 3 or 2 corner in the whole league. The 60 pass defense in the past 2 years is only a stat that backs up what I see on the tape. He's consistent. He understands his assignments. He plays through the whistle, and he understands how to be athletic enough to reach his hands into the ball, and understand how to play coverage, whether it be press man, zone. He also is an alley player who's not afraid to put his face into a tackle, whether it be a running back or tight end or anybody coming across. He explodes through the man, and you saw that happen in that big moment in the game, which created the short field and the turnover that we've been looking for each and every week to try to get this, which I think is a championship quality defense that's gelling and learning as they go even more. Last night they were pitching fastballs on the defensive line, and Kyle Fuller, I think, just like I said, with the aftermath of beating Tom Brady with the locker room smelling the sauce, he was the instant coffee there. Everyone got the smell after he created that turnover, and Robert Quinn heads up play to get on it. Always play the ball. We've been burned by that before. Mm-hmm. You could see Pagano's coaching these guys up to understand, no matter what, the ball's on the ground, pick it up. It could be a fumble. We won't know. Obviously, they do replays. But Kyle Fuller, that was textbook. When they threw the flag, Shawn, you could see how fiery I am. I am screaming that was a clean hit. I saw it right away, and then I thought it was a fumble right away. I said it right out into the universe, and then sure enough, when you got a better look at it, even despite Joe Buck not knowing and Aikman confused, I wasn't. Maybe Aikman had a lot of concussions.
Oh, yeah.
But that was huge. Huge play.
Look, Phil, I got to go to the draft doctor part real quick.
Yes.
So smack my hand if I'm wrong. I need to know, what do you think they need to do? Again, I know there's Trey Lance's out there, since we're not going to be drafted in the top 10, but, looking if maybe Foles can be here for a couple of years, but you got the guy behind him. And you mentioned the fact that Leno was stealing money. So sooner or later, you're going to have to put some draft capital on a left tackle. So like who are some of the guys, and who's some of the guys you're thinking about kind of filling up these positions, these glaring holes that the Bears have in this upcoming draft?
Listen, it's very early for me to put names out there, but positions I can do, just keeping it 100 with you. Mm-hmm. Quarterback, obviously, this GM has promised every year you got to take a quarterback. He's taken a quarterback 1 year. That's false promises. That's That's complete negligence, in my opinion, as a GM. I don't care what round. You identify a talent. You need to get those young players in here. You can't keep rolling with Tyler Bray, for God's sake. You got to own your mistakes. What's been happening in Chicago is the GM has not been owning his mistakes. He's been signing players that are free agents that are making up his mistakes. Do I got to go through the list? Leonard Floyd, you got Robert Quinn, and so on and so forth
Kevin White,
down the line.
very first one.
Kevin White, you got Allen Robinson. Mitch Trubisky, you trade for Nick Foles. This is the pattern. You can't keep missing at the plate when you're a GM in these first rounds. He has. So now, to your point here, there's the two most important positions in football, probably your quarterback. No, obviously the quarterback is number one. I always say left tackle or pass rusher number two. It depends on what your philosophy is. For me, I'm always going to take a pass rusher first, and then an offensive tackle I'm going to find. But this guy has not drafted an offensive tackle in any early round since he's been here. Whitehair, who nerds are going to tell you, well, he was a tackle. Well, he's not here to play tackle. He's playing center now. He was drafted to play guard. James Daniels, guard. He's not addressed the tackle position. He actually extended a guy that was a 7th round pick that's a good pass protector at that time. Good, average. And you extend him, and now you're in this situation. So right now, based on what you have with Nick Foles, obviously quarterback and offensive tackle are the biggest needs on this football team. If we're drafting today, I would have to draft an offensive tackle first. That's where you got to go. It's so bad when I watch it on tape. It's hindering your run game, your offense. Why are they going bubble screen on 3rd and 18? Tom Brady is dropping back trying to throw to the sticks. You can't because you know your offensive protection's not holding up. How do you help that, coach? You got to start sacrificing your tight end to Chip. You got to do it. Then your offense and the flow of the game is going to get better. But really, the offensive tackles, I'm going to be breaking all that down on our network. Draft coverage, all of it. I just don't want to throw any names out there. Everyone, with the COVID, there's so many kids that, I'm going to be looking at. But it's a huge, huge number one need, even over quarterback right now, because I think Nick Foles really is setting, they've passed the baton. I know Mitch fans are going to be upset, but Nick Foles is your quarterback. That's who you're rolling with, and he's signed for longer. They did not take Mitch's fifth-year option, so they can move on from him. It's not a trade. It's not anything. They just turn the page, and Mitch signs somewhere else. That's where it is. Is Mitch going to come back? Injury is the only way he comes back, and the way this offensive line is protecting Shawn, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because there was some really heavy duty, some Mike Tyson blows that Nick Foles withstood last night getting up. And let me tell you, we've all played the game. Those blows feel worse the next morning. Yeah. So you want to make sure this guy holds up. Charles Leno, I'm talking to you. Like, really, take these days and really get after your and fundamentals. Yeah, exactly.
Find a pair. Give me someone with a pair with an attitude. Give me an offensive lineman with an attitude. We could teach him technique. We can teach him technique. If you don't have any heart, you don't have an attitude as an offensive lineman. We can't give that to you. That's got to come. That's got to come equipped already. And if it's not,
he's 100. I love Shawn.
There, you stay on the sideline and you look good in uniform and wave to your mom and your girlfriend. Okay?
Listen, I love Spriggs coming out of Indiana. He was one of my top tackles that season when he came out. Spriggs had some rough times and injuries over in Green Bay. How many players have they taken from us that end up showing up for them? At some point, you have to understand or take a chance as a coach, especially Juan Castillo. You're watching this, Juan. I'm an offensive line coach. I am not going to tolerate that. You need to send the message to the whole team and that player and put Spriggs in there and say, you're getting it today. Charles, you're on the bench. See if that brings out that toughness or that attitude or that embarrassment. There's nothing worse than being embarrassed in front of your peers. These guys today who have gotten paid, they can quiet the negative, the Twitter GMs and all these. They could block that out. However, you can't block out your teammates looking at you and not giving your best. And Charles has not. Listen, I don't
they know when you're in the
They
locker
know.
room, who shows up, and who doesn't show up. You know where the weak link is, and there's no hiding on a football team in a football locker room. Like, okay, he's good for this guy can run down. He's just a special teams guy. He'll run through a brick wall. Don't ask him to cover anybody because he can't do it. Just goes, hey, see ball, tackle ball, but that's what you can do. And there's a pecking order in every locker room. There's a pecking order. You got the stars, you got the really good players, you got the good players, and you got okay. Uniform wearers. And there's a pecking order. I can't imagine how frustrated this offense is. And Mitch Trubisky was, and Nick Foles is. When you got a left tackle who as soon as you drop back, you got to take a quick
a
quick peek. Before and then get my eyes back downfield because I might have a 295-pound guy running a 4.6. Ready to put his face mask in my spine. Okay, so I got to just kind of peek back real quick a couple times. So it's frustrating, but we'll get it together. Hey, Phil, great stuff,
guys,
man. We got to have you back on again, dude.
Anytime you want, and I'm gonna extend the olive branch to you coming on our show and keeping it 100. You'll be perfect. We'll be keeping it 100 and talking Bears. That's what we do. We get fired up. We get antsy about everything from the media to the fans, the dumbest tweets of the week. We do it all. And I'd love to have you come on with us too. I'll come back anytime you need me to come break down this team. That's what I do. I'm proud of it. You can follow me on Instagram, as you can see, Phil_Ottochian, or the Tape Never Lies Network. Just go search that on YouTube and Facebook. We even have a fan page. Look at that. Fans are creating a page. They're so fired up. Bear fans are the best. It's the best city in the world. I live on the East Coast, Shawn, in Connecticut. I'm an hour and 40 from New York, Manhattan. There's nothing like Chicago. I'll keep it 100 there. Nothing like, and it's a Bears town, right?
Hey, I told you. So when you come back, we definitely gonna have to do a couple of little pizza spots. I know you want to take me to the one in New Haven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there's one out. I want to take you to a couple. Pequod's is good. I want to take you to Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder. That is
coming with you,
man. So you know what? Just Google Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder, and you're like, what the hell is this? This thing is phenomenal.
I'm coming with you, and I want to take a walk with your mom with you.
That's dope. That's
what I want to do.
That's dope.
What I want to do.
We're going after the show. It's going to be 80. She can have her hat. She can have a hat on. She can have her pimping shades on.
Yeah.
Be yelling at me, make me something to eat.
I love you guys. Thank you, man.
Have a good one. Nice to meet you, Phil.
Really great meeting you, Kenneth. Hopefully, follow me on Instagram.
No, you're getting that follow today. You're getting that follow today.
I'll follow you back, and we'll keep this 100 going forward. And follow the Tape Never Lies. It'll be out next week. I only do it when I get the coaches tape, Shawn. So you could watch last week's game versus the Colts. I have that breakdown. Then over the weekend, I'll break down one of the defensive players. I haven't decided yet from last week's game. It's crazy because it's a Sunday, Thursday. It's a double feature. Remember back in the day, Shawn, the Creature double feature?
Well,
that's what it is.
We're aging ourselves here, but yeah.
Anyway, I love you guys.
The only way you watch film is the coach's tape. Give me the inside tape, and that's all I need to see. And
exactly.
I can tell you what
it tells the whole story. I said it last night, and then I'll let you go. We could watch the game. You could come away with some ideas of things and big moments, but when you watch the tape, some players that you might have thought played really poorly, when you watch the tape, you're seeing that they're picking up for somebody else's mistakes, or that there's a situation that wasn't correctly blocked, or assignment wasn't called correctly, so you put the blame on someone. You got to retract that, and that's why it's so important to break down the tape and not listen to these PFF stats afterwards and come away with your who's the best in that avenue. I've seen too much of the Khalil Mack as an overrated guy to I got so fired up with that, Shawn.
Yeah,
You know.
don't point me in that direction because
Yeah,
that's throat chopping and knee kicks. Like, come on, dude. This dude's getting
he
held.
did it. What
He's
was that
getting held.
move?
The
Was
hip
it
toss.
Coco Beware? Remember Coco?
The hip toss. Yeah.
Holy, that's a 350-pound man child from Iowa. That kid was one of the most athletic. Kenneth, I loved Worth coming out. I thought this
Okay.
kid is going to be a freaking star. Well, he had an awakening to the NFL. His first
Some
few
stars.
games, he, you think his film room isn't going to be having fun with that? Oh my God, that's how coaching is. Anyway, I love
Yeah.
you guys. Thank you for having me on the show. A lot of fun.
All right, Phil.
I love it.
Back
We'll
at
be
you,
in touch
Phil.
soon.
Bye,
All right.
guys. Have a great day.
All
Bear
right, guys.
down.
Bear
That
the
was
freak
great.
down. Guys,
Yeah,
that's
man.
Dr. Phil Ottochian from the
Oh, that was great. I
As they
appreciate
will.
that one, Shawn. I appreciate that one.
Look at Ivan. Look at there you go, baby. Yeah, 3-13. There you go. There you go.